Roy, firstly, I know you always say that we get a bit more worked up about it than you, but you have signed a new contract now. Just tell us why you decided to commit.
Because enjoying the job. It's a good job. Enjoy working with the people I am, with the senior players, Martin, the staff. Job satisfaction.
You have talked about wanting to get back into club management at some point. What sort of thing would tempt you away?
I don't know until I get that option. I've had one or two options while I've been in the job, and it's not been the right job for me. So I'm happy to stay on, focused. Appreciate the role I've got. Like I said, job satisfaction is really important to me. Particularly working with the people I'm working with, the manager, the staff, the players. We've got a good group, and I enjoy working with them, and that's really, really important to me.
And I know you spoke last week about the investigation in corruption in football. There's been a few more revelations since you were last on the telly.
I'm sure there has, and I'm sure there'll be many more. But if you, I don't think it's a day today for me to go into that. I'm here to talk about, honestly, our game coming up, because we'll be here all day talking about it. Okay. It's part of the game. When there's so much money involved in the game, that we've said it before, there will be greed.
Do you think it tells us a lot, though, about what's going on behind the scenes?
Well, we've said it before, there'll be greed involved when there's so much money involved. But having said that, it's still a great game. There's some brilliant people involved in football, and it shouldn't be tarnished as badly as it has been the last week or so. A lot of this is still accusations, allegations against people. But football's a great game. There's great people involved in it. And there's a lot of great managers out there, great players who do great things for the game. Why do you think so many people watch the game? They love it, and every now and again, obviously there'll be a hiccup along the way. But let's not get distracted by it again. It's the greatest game on the planet. We all love it. There's some great people involved, top people. People who do great work with charity, do great stuff behind the scenes. Some brilliant football clubs out there. I've been lucky to be involved in a few of them. And again, let's not get distracted by every now and again a story like this will come up. But again, let's remember what the game's all about. It's the greatest game on the planet, and we all love it. And let's not be distracted by. I'm not saying we brush it under the carpet, but let the people, clubs and the FA deal with it, whatever is going on. It goes on in other industries, you know.
Sorry. Well, by staying on, is that an indication that you believe that we can qualify for the next World Cup?
Yeah.
And what gives you that belief?
The people I'm working with, the manager, the staff, the players. Tough campaign. We've had a difficult start, difficult week ahead. But yeah, of course we believe we can qualify. If we didn't think we could qualify, obviously we wouldn't have probably stayed on. No, tough challenge, but we're looking forward to it. Just again, I suppose we're glad we thought the fact when we signed the contracts we could put it to bed, but people still want to talk about it. It's done and dusted. We're focused on the job. We always have been. And enjoying it. It's brilliant to be involved. Really good lads. We've got a really good dressing room, and that's really important.
How much of it was the buzz of European Championships though, and performances that?
Yeah, all that played a part. Of course it does. You know, there's plenty of things going through the mix, but job satisfaction is pretty important. You know, again that goes down to the players you're working with, the staff you're working with. And that includes the FAI and the people in the background. It's been really enjoyable. But of course we also know that we're here to get results. And that is, and obviously that's to try and qualify for the World Cup. It's been great, really enjoyed it. And I count my blessings.
What about Harry Arthur at the moment? He was one of the ones in sick bay, if you like.
Yeah, Harry, again, he's still being assessed. I think he was due a scan, or had a scan yesterday. I think the scan was pretty positive, but obviously the player himself feels still a bit tight. So once again, straightforward. If he's not trained today, he's not been over. If you don't train 2 days before a game, then that's not good news. So we just hope maybe it settles on the next few days. It might be available for the second match, but we wouldn't be too hopeful once again.
At this point, do you think he won't be involved in the second game? Will he come over, even be assessed here?
Well, we'll see. We're travelling out the day after the game. Obviously the medical staff are in contact with his club, but it doesn't sound too good, which is a shame because he's an important player for us, and he's been unlucky, 1 or 2 injuries lately, going back to obviously before the Euros. So fingers crossed there's nothing too serious, and he'll be fit in the next week or two, but not in time for our games.
Some people think he should be playing for England.
But in terms of...
It was mentioned on a TV show, some ex-professional footballers thinking he's playing so well at the moment, he should be calling for England.
Well, maybe so. But listen, obviously Harry, we're delighted to have him on board. But he's committed to us, and it's just unfortunate that he's just missed 1 or 2 games with injury.
And what's the story with James McCarthy, because he's the other one, I guess?
James, yeah, obviously James done a little bit yesterday, done a bit more today, and I have to say we're usually cautious with players, obviously always respectful of the player and the club, but James been really positive, trained today, seems no reaction, and for a player who's been injured for 3 or 4 weeks, and obviously just after the operation, he looked pretty sharp. We're very pleased with him, he's very positive, and again we'll see over the next few days. But yeah, again, we get feedback from the medical staff and whatever he said, but also from the player. And James seems really, really upbeat and positive about his recovery. So fingers crossed. If there's no reaction over the next day or two, I'd expect him to be available for the game on Thursday, which is good news for us because obviously we picked up a few injuries over the last few days.
Right, don't know whether you'd seen, but Gianni Infantino has suggested raising the number of qualifiers for the World Cup finals from 32 to 48 in future. Do you have a view on that and how that might change?
No, well, that's the first I've heard about it. No. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I just think at the moment we're just focused on the game. Maybe ask me that question after the games and I'll let you know where my mindset might be on it. But obviously they change it for the Euros, and yeah, we'll see. There's been plenty of changes, some good, some bad for the game, and yeah, we'll see how that one takes shape.
Well, I know there's a lot of ifs and buts in this question, but you know, if a club did come calling for you,
I don't know. It all depends. Depends on the club. And when I stopped playing, I didn't think I was going to go into management. But then a brilliant club like Sunderland came calling. It's all ifs and ands, you know. Depends who comes calling. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Altrincham, Barnet. It all depends. I'll look at it, but that's not my mindset. I'm not one for networking. I don't have an agent. I don't apply for jobs. Never have. Maybe never will do. That might change in a few years' time. Who knows? But I'm committed to the Irish job. If I wasn't committed, I wouldn't have signed.
But you would listen to other offers.
I'm committed to the job with Ireland. My mindset is try and get maximum points this week. Try and win on Thursday night. Talking about other jobs is irrelevant. I'm happy in my job.
And just on Harry Archer, if he doesn't play for the next 2 games, how much of a loss is he to?
We're disappointed. We're always disappointed when players obviously pull out with injury, and he's not the only one. And he's had a little bit of bad luck with us because we're thinking that we're expecting to get a run of games. He's obviously his form is decent at club level. But listen, every time we have the same conversation. Every time we turn up with the national team, there'll be players get injured. It's just the nature of the game we're in. But we've got some other good players, and we'll survive without Harry, and we'll survive without McGeady, and we'll survive without Westwood. That's the nature of the group we have. We just get on with it. It's the same for all the other national teams. It's unfortunate, I'm afraid.
Can I ask you, Roy, I think you've said, and certainly the manager has said, that in the group that you'd expect the 4 top seeds to take points off each other over the course of the campaign. Does that make game weeks like this, where you're playing the kind of lesser teams and or lesser seeds in the group, all the more important to kind of make sure you take all the points?
This idea that I'm certainly not in that mindset that we're playing lesser teams this week. Far from it. No, our preparation will be the same no matter who we're playing, and that's to get our own house in order, make sure we're focused, we're well organised. Obviously, our home record is pretty decent. So this idea that we're playing a lesser team, I'm afraid you're talking to the wrong man. You have to talk to somebody else if you think for some reason we're not in for a really, really tough game. And we've had the experience of playing them recently, so no, we don't see it that way. And talking about the second game, we can talk about that after the next game. We can only focus on the next game, and that is really, really tough game. We'll have to be at our very best to try and get a result. But I think, again, it's clear that I think the group will be very, very tight. But Georgia are a decent team, they're no mugs, let me tell you. Far from it.
Roy, just Scott Hogan, I know Mark O'Neill said the last time we spoke to him that he's had offers from elsewhere with regards to international football. He did speak highly of you in May and said he'd find it hard to say no if you did come calling, asking to play for Ireland. I was just wondering if you had spoken. I know you've gone to.
I think the manager has touched base with him, the player, and I think he's due to try and meet him up in the next few weeks. And we're hoping that if he's keen to come on board, but the manager is looking after that, and it'd be great to get him involved. He looks a really good player, proper goal scorer. Had injuries over the last years. I've seen him myself a couple of times. Obviously the other staff, and if it needs for me to get involved in it, like I've always done with the manager and other players, then I'm happy to get involved in any conversation. But the manager is focusing on that at the moment, and fingers crossed, there'll be some good news over the next month or two. And when players got other options, then we've had that with Grealish and one or two other players. You have to respect their decision. But please God, he'd like to come on board with us, because I think we'd be good for him as well.
Do you think he's a player Ireland need at the moment?
I think the position we're in with our pool of players, if we think a player is scoring goals regularly in the Championship, then yeah, it'd be a good addition to the squad, of course.
And just on Georgia quickly, obviously we played them in the last campaign. Are you expecting anything different from them this week, or is the analysis a lot easier to do because it's been so recent since we played them last?
No, I wouldn't say it's a lot easier, but judging from their performance against Austria, and again our own experiences against them, I keep saying it, we're in for a really tough game. They're really good players. They're big and strong, quite happy. They can deal with the ball. No problem. There wasn't much between. I don't think Scotland, Ireland and Georgia, we just managed to get through in the group. But no, tough game for us coming up. Definitely tough game for us. But one we're looking forward to.
Roy, just on Georgia, how much are you concentrating on what they're going to bring to the table, in the sense that I think in 5 of the last 6 times Ireland have played Georgia, there's only been 1 goal in it, and we've seen what they did to Scotland last year. From their point of view, do they have a big game in them, and do you think they'll be out to take a scalp?
I think they're certainly a team that, even the record against us, they must count themselves unlucky. They've been unlucky in a number of games where they've lost by the odd goal. Now, if we can win by the odd goal on Thursday night, then fantastic. But they have improved, and as I said, their game, they're up for the challenge. Again, every time I've seen them, the few games I've seen them, again, I keep saying it, they're tough boys. They'll have a go. I think they'll enjoy coming to Dublin on Thursday. But as much as we know we're in for a tough game, we'd expect them to be a tough game as well. We'd be ready, we'd be raring, nice and fresh. I think we'll be sharper from the last game. A lot of our lads, even we turn up the last few days, a lot of them have played over the weekend. A lot of them lads are a lot fitter than they were previously. So I think we'll be in a better position than we were maybe before we went to Serbia. So yeah, I'll give Georgia plenty of plaudits, but they'll know that they'll be in for a tough game as well, of course.
And just very quickly, you mentioned our home form. We've been, I think, since yourself, Martin, and the management team has come in, we've yet to lose a game at home. What do you put it down to, and what kind of approach do you take in these home games compared to the tricky away games?
Well, a lot of it, a bit of confidence. We've had some 1 or 2 big results. Even obviously the result against Germany was huge for us. Fans play a big part in it, of course. And I suppose the players' mentality, obviously, they want to keep that run going. And we'll need to keep it going in this group if we have any chance of qualifying. I think we all enjoy the Aviva's brilliant atmosphere. I think the feel-good factor seems to be back in Irish football. And when we first came on board, it was just that we'd lost something, I think. But with some good home performances, I think that the feel-good factor has come back, but that can quickly go, we know that. So that's why we have to continue this run on and continue to put in really good performances. That's why it's vital we get a home win on Thursday night, keep that momentum going. Momentum in sport, we've all seen it before, we've seen it over the weekend. It's massive and we want to keep it going. Okay.